Hi, I'm Dr. J, and welcome to 5 Minute Fridays. I have a background of a master's in human performance/applied sports science and a doctorate in sport and performance psychology. This week, we're going to talk about the test of performance strategies, also known as the TOPS assessment. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe for more 5 Minute Fridays with your Dr. J. The TOPS assessment is a 64-question assessment that looks at a multitude of different variables that affect practice and competition settings, but also looking at, all right, how are you wired as you're going through these things? And so this assessment can be useful for understanding how do you operate, how do you think, and how do you conceptualize when it comes to these practice and competition settings, which can later be used to help us develop more and better mental skills. One of the areas that the TOPS assessment looks at is self-talk. Is your self-talk negative? Is it positive? How often are you using self-talk? And how impactful is that into your practice and into your competition? Our next area is going to be emotional control. So are you able to handle different emotions that might come up as you're competing or as you're working through practice? And how do those emotions that you're having influence how you perform and how you play, right? Are you able to separate those things, or are those things a big factor in how you move and how you operate? Our next area is going to be automation, all right? And that's looking at how well are you versed with your skills that you have? Are you able to do these things on command without much thought? Or are you still in a learning phase where it might take you a little bit more thought to understand and figure out how you want to move with these skills, right? And so you might take more time to think about it, which might slow down the speed at which you're able to do this. Or are you well practiced where this skill might be just automatically on repeat? As soon as you see the situation, you're ready to go and you're ready to operate. The TOPS assessment also looks at goal setting. All right, are you setting goals for practice? Are you setting goals for competition? What kind of goals are you setting for practice or for competition? Because that can influence how you move forward and how you operate in those different settings, right? And so if we're focused on a result or a performance goal, are we focused on a process goal where it's action oriented, where we're trying to master a skill? Or is it in between where it might be time oriented because it's happening during this part of the season? Or is it happening later in the season or even during like a championship series? Then the assessment also takes a look at imagery. All right, how well are you able to utilize visualization? How well are you able to visualize? And are you using visualization as a tool for you to grow in these skills, right? Are you visualizing during practice, or maybe you only visualize for games? All right, and those could be different situations, those could be different needs or demands, right? This assessment also looks at relaxation, all right? And so are you able to relax when you need to? Or are you able to come back down from certain emotional highs that might happen during the game or during practice and able to regulate yourself so that you're able to take on the next play, right? Or are you still worried about the last play as the game has continued to move, right? And being able to adjust in those different situations. Then we take a look at attentional control. All right, and attentional control isn't so much whether you have a lot of concentration, but are you able to focus in on the things that matter and are relevant to what you're doing, whether that's practice or performance? And are you able to focus on that task in order to figure out your next plan of action, right? Are you able to use that effectively and able to conceptualize what should happen next, right? And some of these traits might feel like they bleed into each other a little bit, because they do, but they are different areas that do affect our performance. It also looks at negative thinking, all right? And it's not so much like, do you have this kind of certain thought? It's more so, all right, how do these thoughts happen if you might make a mistake or an error happens, right? And do you linger on these thoughts? Do you ruminate in that? Or are you able to move past that and able to quickly adjust or quickly stay in the moment so that your attention can be on what it needs to be on? So although this assessment is scored in all of the areas that we just mentioned, it doesn't mean that there's any right or wrong answers. This assessment's aim is to only help you understand better how you operate and how you function, and then maybe areas of potential improvement that you can work on to get better with or feel more well-versed with. So my encouragement for you between this 5 Minute Friday and our next 5 Minute Friday is go ahead and take the TOPS assessment, which is located on justrawskill.com, and see how you score, all right? And get in touch with me and we can see about a plan to move you forward. or just take a look at where you're at currently so that you can understand yourself better and figure out how to work with yourself better, right? As you take the time to assess yourself and work through this, we start to see how collaborative the physical and the mental sides of these skills are and how they can work together to foster and build each other as we work on them simultaneously. Join us next time on our 5-Minute Friday as we look at stress and its impact on physical performance and recovery. Thank you for joining us for this 5-Minute Friday. Once again, I'm Dr. J, and as always, be refined by the grind.